Hi, I'm Ben Galbraith.
And I'm Dion Alman. It's a pleasure to kick things off. We're going to be your MCs for the event here today.
Welcome to the Open Source Summit. Of course, open source, as you all know, has just revolutionized the world. We are all using free software developed by hobbyists with the best of intentions to liberate the world from closed, expensive software, right?
Absolutely. It's all people with long beards. That's all open source is these days. So was it that kind of revolution, or do you look at it differently and it's kind of like our Trojan horse friends over here, where it's that age-old business model of, just having a freemium product, the first hit is free?
We've got a great group of people here to talk about this, about open source. We've got some of the best, earliest pioneers in open source businesses to recent startups, to companies like Facebook who are involved in open source but have a different business model entirely. We're really excited to explore this with you today, and we've got a lot of great speakers here to do that. And to kick things off, we'd like to introduce Salil Deshpande.
Yeah, we've known Salil for a long time. Back when I was a 20-year-old whippersnapper, along with the CEO of Service Rocket, who's sponsoring this. Salil was our CEO. I've enjoyed talking about technology and business ever since, and kind of going through this open source revolution. Salil's a managing director at Bain Capital Ventures, and he's funded like a dozen, I think, open source projects and companies that have gone on to have really successful events. And so he's really been there, since some of the early days, having great investments, and he's the reason that we're all here today to have these kind of discussions. So
let's give a warm welcome to Salil.
So my job here is really to introduce the first speaker. But if you could put up that slide number 2. Saying, by the way, I invited both of these guys. One of them teaches a class at Stanford on Tuesdays at this time, and the other one had a board meeting. So Peter wrote a post on TechCrunch saying, please don't tell me you want to be the next Red Hat. The business model is a failure. It generates a fraction of the revenue of closed source. Product roadmaps are left to a distributed group of developers. The project may never gain traction, or someone may fork it if you don't employ all the developers. Large companies try to co-opt the project. You compete with open source projects in addition to closed source projects. And if you're lucky, you're a strategic acquisition, and the chances of becoming a large standalone company are very slim. And he also used the words, it's a shit show, in his article. And on the other side is Mike Volpe, who says now is the breakout moment. And open source is now cutting edge. It's enterprise class. The systems are complex. Open source is perfect for that. Monetization models are working. The startups control their own destiny now for various reasons he goes into. And there's critical mass for the adoption. So clearly, one of these guys is wrong. Or are they both right? That's something I'd like to discuss today. Our first speaker is Naval Ravikant, and he's going to talk about a topic which would have been perfect right before beers, right before the open bar, or during the open bar, because it's about a futuristic way of monetizing open source. We're going to spend the rest of the day talking about the state of the art in monetizing open source, but he's going to talk about the futuristic way. And he's going to go on vacation later this afternoon. So that's why we're having him speak first. So here's our headliner, Naval Ravikant.